Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Clarified Moments, CCTs, Clear Conscious Thought, where we hope to bring a level of clarity to your consciousness, to your view, to your perspective, to your world. Well, he's done it again, folks. This dude, I can't make this up, man. First of all, let's pray for our troops. Let's pray for those that are in harm's way, not just in Afghanistan, here in America. And you guys know what I'm talking about in the urban communities, which is something I've been talking about for a minute now. While we have compassion and empathy and concern for immigrants, we need to be having compassion and empathy and concern for those here in America, the less fortunate here in America. And they come in all shapes, colors, and sizes. We're not going to discriminate. But dude get on television today, and I'm talking about your president, not mine, your president. Get on television today, and I mean, he just jacked it up, as usual. He reading from a teleprompter, which Trump did too, but a lot of times he shot from the hip, which I feel like that really messed him up, because he starts speaking from the heart. Who knows what's gonna come out of his mouth? But they are afraid. They are afraid for this dude to start talking. And you're gonna see in this video, because he starts shooting from the hip, and then he just starts saying stuff. I mean, no compassion, no empathy. The things that he ran on, bringing a sense of normalcy. You guys think this is normal? For 20 years, we didn't have any troops die, but this is normal. But yeah, man, let's just get into it. Let's just see what he's talking about. Let's just break it down. I'm not going to play the video because I don't want them to strike me, but I'm going to let you listen to it. We're going to listen to it. And we're just going to break it down. We're going to bring a level of clarity to it. We're going to clarify this moment in time. And the video's kind of long, so we probably ain't going to listen to all of it, but I don't know. But this is ridiculous, man. Dude is a dumpster fire.
A tough day. This evening in Kabul, as you all know, terrorists attacked that we've been talking about, worried about, that the intelligence community has assessed, has undertaken an attack by a group known as ISIS-K. Took the lives of American service members standing guard at the airport, and wounded several others seriously. He had also wounded a number of civilians, and civilians were killed as well. I've been engaged all day in constant contact with the military commanders here in Washington, the Pentagon, as well as in Afghanistan and Doha. And my commanders here in Washington in the field have been on this with great detail, and you've had a chance to speak to some so far. The situation on the ground is still evolving, and I'm constantly being updated.
No doubt.
These American service members who gave their lives, it's an overused word, but it's totally appropriate here, were heroes. Heroes who've been engaged in a dangerous, selfless mission to save the lives of others. They're a part.
Now look, check this out. Like, okay, now he get up here, he talking about, you know how they're heroes and all this stuff. He talked about how he knew, or at least the military leaders talking about they knew, which he should know since he's supposedly the president, that this was going to happen. Not the American soldiers dying, not people dying, but I'm talking about this, the way the Taliban came in and took over the country. They supposedly knew. They planned for every contingency. What I don't understand is, if they knew all of this, I'm looking at, before this even happened, I'm looking at the soldiers on the ground. I'm looking at how they not even soft targets. They hard targets. Like they sitting right there at the airport. They ain't doing no vetting. All these immigrants, all these Afghans coming to the airport, and Taliban mixed in with them. And how we know who they are? I'm sitting there looking at it like, this is finna jump off in a minute. I'm talking about this was a few days ago. I'm like, this is finna jump off. How he don't know that? But yeah, I'm gonna let him finish because he gonna sing a little song that he's sorry, and these are heroes and this and that.
The part of an airlift, an evacuation effort unlike any seen in history, with more than 100,000 American citizens, American partners.
Look at him reading from the teleprompter right now.
And others taken to safety in the last 11 days.
They got to prepare this dude.
So another
if they don't prepare him, he don't know what to say.
They were part of the bravest, most capable, the most selfless military in the face of the earth.
Why you ain't protect them? Why you ain't make sure they were straight?
Simply what I call the backbone of America. They're the spine of America. The best the country has to offer. Jill and I, our hearts ache.
Watch this.
I'm sure all of you do as well.
He do it all the time.
Families who lost loved ones, including small children.
Listen to this.
Who have been wounded in this vicious attack. And we're outraged as well as heartbroken. Being the father of a Army major who served for a year in Iraq, and before that was in Kosovo as a U.S. attorney for the better part of 6 months in the middle.
Now, he always do this. Every time he talk about the soldier, he want to bring his son up, who served. No doubt, he served. No disrespect. But the way he be painting the pictures like he died in battle. Dude did not die in battle. And I'm sure that's your son. Yeah, your heart aches. He died. If my son, Lord forbid. But don't be trying to play it like he died in battle. And you could understand the pain of these fathers, these mothers, these family members who lost a family member, a loved one in battle. That's different. Even I know that.
In the middle of a war. When he came home after a year in Iraq, he was diagnosed, like many, many coming home, with an aggressive and lethal cancer of the brain. We lost. We have some sense, like many of you do, what the families of these brave heroes are feeling today.
Sense of empathy.
You get this feeling like you're being sucked into a black hole in the middle of your chest. There's no way out.
Now he's finna get emotional.
My heart aches for you. And I know this. We have a continuing obligation, a sacred obligation to all of you, families of those heroes.
What's that?
That obligation is not temporary. It lasts forever.
What's that?
The lives we lost today were lives given in the service of liberty, the service of security, the service of others, in the service of America.
Now,
like their fellow.
Now we're a patriot in the service of America. I'm talking about from the time he got into office, him and his crew, they've been unpatriotic. Going against the Constitution, going against freedoms, going against everything American. As a matter of fact, I remember in a statement he made a while back, he talking about there ain't nothing special about America. But now you patriotic. Boy, please.
Brothers and sisters in arms who died defending our vision and our values in the struggle against terrorism. Of the fall on this day, they're part of a great and noble company of American heroes. To those who carried out this attack, as well as anyone who wishes America harm, know this. We will not forgive. We will not forget.
Man, please. You ain't finna do nothing.
And make you pay.
The last time troops were attacked in Iraq, under this administration, they bombed a warehouse in Iran or Syria. That's what they did. But he finna do something. You folding every 5 minutes. You ain't solid. But again, you ain't nothing but a puppet. You ain't running nothing. You ain't the leader of the free world. You never was.
I will defend our interests and our people with every measure at my command.
Real talk. You'll defend our interests and our freedoms. That's what you said. My interest is for the gas prices to go back down. For the commodities in the store, the groceries and all the stuff I go to the store and get, my interest is for them prices to go back down because it's messing with my bottom line. It's messing with my pockets. My interest is for you to stop using COVID as a political power play. Real talk. That's what you're doing. That's what they doing. They got folks out here afraid. I ain't saying you shouldn't be concerned. I ain't saying you shouldn't protect yourself. But they projecting fear to control people. How is it that COVID is such a big issue, but yet you letting people in at the border with COVID? You ain't testing them, or a large portion of them you not testing, and then you just shipping them throughout parts of the country, and they ain't even vaccinated. Not to say that even if they was, we know you still can pass it on and get it even if you are vaccinated. YouTube probably try to pull this down, but that's real talk. Somebody tell me, somebody prove me wrong. It's a fact. CDC said it. The so-called vaccine gurus, them and Fauci. And then we got the Afghans refugees coming over here, and they ain't vaccinated. And some of them we know for a fact most likely got COVID too. But you concerned about my safety and well-being. You about my freedoms. Boy, please.
Over the past few weeks,
he reading from the teleprompter right now.
You're probably tired of hearing me
say
like
this.
And we've been made aware
what he doing
by our intelligence community.
I wish you can see him.
That the ISIS-K,
this video online, I'm gonna put it in. I'm gonna put the link in the comments.
Taliban, people who were freed when both those prisons were opened, has been planning a complex set of attacks.
Now you're talking about the folks that did this attack supposedly, which we still don't know, but that's what they saying. They came out of the prison that the Taliban, when they invaded the country, they opened the prison and let everybody out. But I'm not surprised though. I'm not surprised. Because that's what you guys been doing since you got in office. Bail reform, all that type of stuff. Now brothers that deserve to get out, they trying to change their life, which I was one of them. They trying to right their wrongs. They trying to do right. Yeah, let's do that. But those we know for a fact, they on some other. They foul. They pedophile. They messing with children. Come on, man. They clowns. These are clowns. You letting them out too. And they go right back out there and do the same thing. So you acting like you have an issue with them letting them out of prison. Miss me with that, dog. You ain't talking about that. You ain't talking about that.
Attacks on the United States personnel and others. This is why, from the outset, I've repeatedly said this mission was extraordinarily dangerous, and on why I've been so determined to limit the duration.
When did he say that? Y'all tell me when he said, I don't even remember him saying that. This mission was extremely dangerous. And this is another thing that people don't want to talk about. And he gonna talk about it in the video in a minute. He gonna blame Trump. They always blame Trump. That man ain't even in office. He did some stuff, but you can't blame everything on him. This on you, bro. You did this. You the one decide to make a deal and pull the troops out. You could have folded like you folded or rescinded all the other stuff. You trying to act like you couldn't do it in this situation. Either you scared or you ain't. What we scared of? They already done killed. Dude, they killed, what, 5,000 people? This is the same people that killed 5,000 people in the Twin Towers in New York. Same people. We got people in the hood we banging in the hood because somebody killed my homeboy, somebody killed my mother, my father, my friend. Like, I know you're supposed to forgive. The Bible says you're supposed to forgive. As we freely receive, we're supposed to freely give. You know, Jesus Christ gave us by dying on the cross and have an opportunity for salvation. But these dudes are unrepentant. They talking about death to America right now. They still talking about killing more Americans, and then this demonstrated it. And you can say, and this is what they're going to try to do. They're trying to frame it and say, well, it was ISIS, which is a totally different group. But who let that group get that close? Who let them do it? The Taliban. You think they didn't know that they finna do something? You think they didn't holler, hey, look here, man. I know we got beef. But we can handle that later. But right now, we got beef with them soldiers right there. We need to get a little closer. Now y'all fall back. And then I read that not only did they suicide bomb, but after they suicide bomb, which is a tactic that they do, when the chaos jump off, then they start busting too. So you got troops, civilians, they trying to figure out what's going on in the middle of an explosion, and then they start busting. That's how so many casualties happen. They should have never been they should have never been a soft target or a hard target. They should have never been, like, I don't understand this. I just don't. I don't understand how you sitting there knowing these folks don't like you, knowing that you can't figure out who is who, and you don't stretch the perimeter out. You don't stretch it out. They right there at the door. But y'all supposed to have plans for every contingency. Yeah, okay.
The duration of this mission. As General McKenzie said, this is why our mission was designed, this is the way it was designed to operate.
He started reading right now.
Operating under severe stress and attack. We've known that from the beginning. And as I've been in constant contact with our senior military leaders, and I mean constant.
If you knew that from the beginning, why the troops weren't ready? Why they weren't prepared? Why didn't it flow? Why didn't this sense of urgency or understanding then flow downhill? So the troops would be like, ready. Why is that? I don't get it. I don't get it.
and our commanders on the ground and throughout the day, they made it clear that we can and we must complete this mission, and we will.
We can and we must complete this mission. You know what the mission is? The mission is to get out at all costs, even at the cost or expense of American lives. Troops, we getting out of here, off the flock. We out. We finna bounce, and we don't care who we leave behind. You gonna see what he say in a minute. He gonna say, he ain't gonna say it like that, but he gonna basically say it. We, and then they keep talking. This is something else I don't get. For those who want to get out, you got parishioners over there. You got, contractors. You got volunteers. You got troops, of course. You got, excuse me. You got, what's the other set of group of people over there? Well, you got Afghans, obviously. I don't understand why they keep saying, for those that, who wants to stay over there? Who wants to be under the thumb of the Taliban? Why you think you got all these refugees trying to get up out of there? Why would you even fix your mouth to even say that? For those that want to get out, it's because you're trying to set something up. You're trying to set up a narrative. So after you lead people over there, you could say, well, they ain't much they want to get out. We told them. We told them to shelter in place. Then we told them to come on out. Then we told them to make it to the airport the best way they can. Then we told them, we can't guarantee your safety. Which message am I supposed to believe? Which message am I supposed to believe if I'm over there? Dumpster fire, man.
We will. And that's what I've ordered them to do.
They put this dude in place. They put this dude. Dude is a career politician. Now, people say, you say all you want to say about Trump. People say they don't like him for whatever reason. But what we do know is, and I say this all the time, he ain't no politician. He's a businessman posing that he was a businessman posing as a politician. That was refreshing to me because I get tired of hearing all this. Knowing ain't nothing finna change. You sitting up there with Fat Bank, they sitting behind walls, sitting in nice neighborhoods, got their own security. When the vaccine came out, when they first came out with it, you got politicians in the Senate cashing in on the stocks. These dudes are some, well, we know that. They crooks, man. This ain't even how it's supposed to have been set up. That's why everybody be trying to get in that space. Because they know they can rake the cover clean. And then replenish it and rake it clean again. But that's what they doing. And that's one of the reasons why they didn't like Trump, because he already got the bag. And so he wasn't even trying to do that. He liked the fight. So when they try to say, hey man, what you doing, man? You messing up the bag. You're like, man, y'all need to be doing that, man. I ain't doing that. I'm straight. And you should be straight. You've been in office 40 years. You ain't got enough yet. Stop stealing from the American people. Stop stealing.
We will not be deterred by terrorists. We will not let them stop our mission. We will continue the evacuation. I've also ordered my commanders to develop operational plans to strike ISIS-K assets, leadership, and facilities. We will respond with force and precision at our time, at the place we choose, in the moment of our choosing. Here's what you need to know. These ISIS terrorists will not win. We will rescue the Americans in there. We will get our Afghan allies.
Still reading.
And our mission will go on. America will not be intimidated. And I have the utmost confidence in our brave service members who continue to execute this mission with courage and honor to save lives and get Americans, our partners, our Afghan allies out of Afghanistan.
I have the utmost confidence in our American troops and allies. The problem with that statement is you can have all the confidence in the world, which you don't. You reading from a teleprompter. How can you have confidence in someone when you're not giving them the resources, the information, and the opportunity to perform the job effectively? Because of poor leadership. I could tell my daughter all day long, I want you to do A, B, C, and D. But if I don't give her the tools, the resources, the information she needs to execute the plan, she ain't gonna be able to do it. She ain't gonna be able to do it. So the problem, come on in, Lee. The problem is poor leadership. They don't know what I keep saying they don't know what they're doing because they career politicians. All they thinking about is the bag. All they thinking about is power. Appetite for power versus appetite for purpose. What's the purpose? It certainly ain't getting people out of Afghanistan. It ain't about getting Americans out. It ain't about saving. It ain't about refugees. It's about consolidating power. And how we gonna spend this? Mainstream media, they already doing it. Softball questions. Oh, you've been so strong. You showed a sense of strength, and I know this is difficult, and did. And then the one reporter that asked a hard question, he get jazzy with it. But when the big bad pink man was doing it, shh.
Every day when I talk to our commanders, I ask them what they need. What more do they need, if anything, to get the job done?
A plan? How about that? A plan. A viable plan. A reasonable plan.
As they will tell you, I granted every request. I reiterated to them today on 3 occasions that they should take the maximum steps necessary to protect our forces on the ground in Kabul. And I also want to thank the Secretary of Defense and the military leadership of the Pentagon and all the commanders in the field. There has been complete unanimity from every commander on the objectives of this mission and the best way to achieve those objectives.
Well, why are they getting on television and saying contradicting things? Just a few days ago, they were saying contradicting things. He's saying one thing, they saying something else, but they in unison. If you listen to him, if you listen to mainstream media, if you listen to these jokers, you're going to be cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. You're going to be operating in zombie-like thought. I always say the devil's in the details. You got to pull back the layers. Listen to what they're saying and compare it to their actions. The Bible says faith without works is dead. That's real talk. Like, you can say all day long, I believe. You can say all day long, excuse me, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. But if you ain't doing it, if you ain't putting forth the work, you ain't talking about nothing. You ain't talking about nothing. But that's what they do. Because they know they got the support of the mainstream media. They're going to spin it. They're going to put it out. They're going to squash any negative energy that come against it. They're going to squash any challenges to that narrative. They're going to squash it. And then they know that most people want to be comfortable. They want to feel safe. I don't want to feel safe. I actually want to be safe. It ain't about feelings. As a matter of fact, God ain't never promised we were going to be safe. He said, in this world ye will have tribulation, but be of good cheer, for I have overcome the world. Like, we're going to have troubles. We're going to have challenges. But I think that's the mindset, that's the problem with a large portion of society today. We go through life and we want to be comfortable. We want to have all our trinkets and gadgets. Don't understand that there's a cost associated with that. And as a matter of fact, we shouldn't even be focused on that. Those things gonna pass away. We ain't gonna be able to take it with us. But because we have zombie-like thought, because we've been trained to think like this, that it's all about feeling comfortable. They get on television and they feed us these narratives. They feed us this misinformation, as they like to say. And we eat it up. Or worse yet, we just ignore it. Everybody want to be woke. They want to be woke when it comes to racism and discrimination and all this other stuff. But ain't nobody want to be woke to the lies that these jokers be spitting out. To American as a whole. To America as a whole. Not just to any particular group. They, like I said earlier, they raking the cover clean, replenishing it, and raking it clean again. Check their bank account. Check out what they're doing. Voting themselves raises in the middle of a pandemic. Right here in the city of Atlanta, city council. Last year, right in the middle of a pandemic.
Those objectives.
It's good.
Those who have served through the ages have drawn inspiration from the book of Isaiah.
Here,
the Lord
says,
Bible. Whom shall I send? Who shall go for us?
He read from the Bible. This dude support pro-choice, abortion, calls himself a devoted Catholic. Now, I don't know what your relationship is with God. But that just don't sound right to me. I'm just saying.
American military has been answering for a long time. Here I am, Lord, send me. Here I am, send me.
Passion.
Each one of these women and men of our armed forces are the heirs of that tradition of sacrifice, of volunteering to go in harm's way, to risk everything. Not for glory, not for profit, but to defend what we love and the people we love.
Yeah, to defend what we love and the people we love. Absolutely. If I was a service member right now, man, I'd be rethinking my commitment. Because what I love, it seemed like it no longer exists. I ain't talking about family. I'm talking about country. I'm talking about the American dream, the hopes that we can that we can continue what they call this experiment, and it continue to grow and expands and becomes better and better and better. That's what it's supposed to be doing, but it look like it's going backwards. Race relations right now is at an all-time low. It's the worst in history, in my opinion. And it's all because of these jokers. I ain't have no beef with no white people. I ain't have no beef with no police officers. Matter of fact, I got some friends of police officers, white and black. I ain't saying it ain't none that's bad. I'm just saying the way that they highlighted it, the way that they put emphasis on it, the way that they charged it, gassed it up. They knew what they was doing because they trying to get votes. But he was supposed to come in and decompress the situation. He's supposed to come in and make things normal again, bring a sense of empathy and all these other things he was talking about. He came in and gassed it up even more. So I'm either more suspicious of my white counterpart, or my white counterpart is either more suspicious of me, or possibly even more afraid of me, or vice versa. I can't just walk in and we just be cool. Like we just.
And I ask that you join me now in a moment of silence for all those in uniform.
Let me see if I can get to the good part.
We find any American who wishes to get out of Afghanistan.
There you go, talking about.
We will find them and we will get them.
We'll find any American that wishes to get. Who don't want to get out of there? I don't understand. Who don't want to get out of there? Who want to stay in Afghanistan? No AC, it's hot. Taliban over there, terrorists over there, don't like Americans. What American want to say, you know what? I'm gonna stay over here. I think I'm gonna set up shop. There's a lot of opportunity over here. I'm gonna secure the bag over here. Yeah. I don't speak their language, but I think I can win over here. Who doing that? Nobody I know. As racist, as systemic racist, as systemically racist as America supposedly is, ain't nobody running trying to get over there. Everybody's still here. So what is he talking about? Everybody that want to get out. Now, argue that there are probably some Afghans that are I guess you could say arguing with themselves, debating with themselves, because if they go and they got a large family, they don't want to leave them behind. And so they got a choice. Either I stay behind with them, at least I'm with my family, or I leave and potentially leave my family over there, and I don't know what's going to happen to them. So yeah, that. But he talking about anybody. I think he mentioned Americans specifically.
We'll get them out. Ladies and gentlemen, they gave me a list here. The first person I was instructed to call on was Kelly O'Donnell of NBC.
The first person I was instructed. How is the president, leader of the free world, being told what reporter to talk to first? That's what I'm talking about. Puppet. Dude ain't leading nothing. He ain't in control. And for those that think he is, those that think he is, you operate in the epitome of zombie-like thought. Dude can't stream. He can't stream a sentence together. And you gonna see.
You have said leaving Afghanistan is in the national interest of the United States. After today's attack, do you believe you will authorize additional forces to respond to that attack inside Afghanistan? And are you prepared to add additional forces to protect those Americans who remain on the ground carrying out the evacuation operation?
I've instructed the military, whatever they need, if they need additional force, I will grant it. But the military
So you've instructed the military that you will, if they need additional forces, that you will grant it, meaning you will put more troops in harm's way. And you don't have a plan. Obviously, you don't have a plan. So now we're talking about potentially more people dying. What are we doing, man? What are we doing? We have no idea.
chairman of the Joint Chiefs, the commanders in the field have all contacted me one way or another, usually by letter, saying they subscribe to the mission as designed to get as many people out as we can within the time frame that is allotted. That is the best way, they believe, to get as many Americans out as possible and others. And with regard to finding, tracking down the ISIS leaders who ordered this, we have some reason to believe we know who they are, not certain, and we will find ways for it.
If dude, he talking about finding the people who did this, ISIS or whatever. Let's just say that they find these people. How we know that they're actually these people, that they just don't go kill somebody and just say, hey, that was ISIS right there, we got them. How we know that? So they can sell that narrative that they did something. They don't know who these people are. I tell you who I think they are. I tell you who is a surefire bet who they might be, or who they run with. The same ones that's telling us to get up out of there by August the 31st. The same ones that's running the show. The same ones that let them come to the front of the line. They say, hey, it's free lunch. Y'all go to the front of the line. And guess who's on the menu? American troops. Yeah. That's what they told them. We know who possibly let them do it.
As far as choosing without large military operations to get them. Wherever they are.
Wherever they are.
Trevor, Reuters.
Thank you, Mr. President. There's been some criticism, even from people in your party, about the dependence on the Taliban to secure the perimeter of the airport. Do you feel like there was a mistake made in that regard?
No, I don't. Look, I think General McKenzie handled this question very well. The fact is that we're in a situation, we inherited a situation, particularly in the sense, as we all know, that the Afghan military collapsed 11 days before, in 11 days, that it is in the interest of, as McKenzie said, in the interest of the Taliban, that, in fact, ISIS-K does not metastasize beyond what it is, number one. Number two, it's in their interest that we are able to leave on time, on target. As a consequence of that, the major things we've asked them, moving back the perimeter, giving more space between the wall, stopping vehicles from coming through, etc., searching people coming through. It is not what you'd call a tightly commanded, regimented operation like the U.S. military is. But
so why are we depending on them then?
They're acting in their interest.
Which is to kill Americans. But we trust them though.
Their interest. And so, by and large, and I've asked this same question to military on the ground, whether or not it's a useful exercise, no one trusts them. We're just counting on their self-interest to continue to generate their activities.
Nobody trusts them, but we're just counting on their self-interest. Nobody trusts them, but we're counting on their self-interest to continue to try to kill us. We don't trust them. We know they want to kill us. but we trust that they want to kill us. Does that make any sense?
It's in their self-interest that we leave when we said, and that we get as many people out as we can. Like I said, even in the midst of everything that happened today, over 7,000 people we've gotten out, over 5,000.
I remember that old Vikings coach that said after a loss, he was all gassed up. He was talking about the opponent. And he says, we are who we thought they were. You remember that? They were what they were who we thought they were, or they are who we think they were, something like that. This applies to this. The Taliban are who we think they are. My mom used to tell me a tiger don't change its stripes. It is what it is. So why are we trusting them for security? And this applies not only to this administration, but the previous administration. Some of the stuff that was done in them deals that led up to this. And then they keep talking about, and this is what he's going to keep trying to talk about, he's going to keep trying to paint this narrative that he ain't have no choice, which is a lie, because he got choices. From the time he got in office, he done made choices to rescind everything that the previous administration did. From the border wall to the pipeline, all this stuff. So you telling me you couldn't do it in this instance. On top of that, you decided to do it this way, which is what everyone is talking about. That's what the issue is. That's what this is about. This ain't about the fact that you will withdraw. Everybody understand that we can't stay there forever. But how you did it, you don't want to address that. Nobody want to talk about that. How you did it. There's a lot of things I've done in my life that I regret. There's a lot of things. But what makes it much more painful when the decisions that you make that you regret have the extra caveat to it of how you did it. How you did it. If you decided to make this decision versus that decision, and you know there's gonna be a let's just say there's gonna be some blowback. It's in your best interest to make sure that how you do it is respectful.
Thousand Americans. So it's not a matter of trust, it's a matter of mutual self-interest. And but there is no evidence thus far that I've been given as a consequence by any of our commanders in the field that there has been collusion between the Taliban and ISIS in carrying out what happened today, both in front of the hotel and what is expected to continue for beyond today. Amir, Associated Press.
Thank you, Mr. President. You have spoken, again, powerfully about your own son and the...
You done spoken powerfully. He already He already in that man. There might be kids watching. Let me just say this. He already licking that man's feet. Let's put it like that. Powerfully. What are you talking about? Just get to the question.
And the weight of these decisions. With that in mind, and also what you've said, that the longer we stay, the more likelihood that there would be a major attack. How do you weigh staying even one more day, considering what's happened?
Because I think what America says matters.
Really? What America says matters. Well, you done said a lot of stuff since you've been in office. You said a lot of stuff before you got in office. What you was gonna do. 100 days to curb the spread. Well, it's been more than 100 days. Just get me in office and we'll return to a sense of normalcy. You in office and we ain't back to no normalcy. I'm a president, or I would be a president of empathy and respect, and you ain't doing none of that. You don't have no empathy for them soldiers that's still over there, and the family for one. You ain't got no empathy for me and my pockets. Passing all these policies that ain't got nothing to do with nothing but hurting me. What's CRT got to do with empathy? What somebody's sex or gender got to do with empathy? Nobody don't look at people and just be like, oh, that's a female, that's a male, and that's so important. What about the person? Are they good people? Why are we focusing on all this stuff that don't mean nothing at the end of the day? Brother, no matter what you think you are, what you believe you should be, the $1 million question is, do you believe in Christ? Do you believe in a higher power that has the power to determine where you're going to live eternally? Do you believe that?
What we say we're going to do in the context in which we say we're going to do it, that we do it, unless something exceptional changes. There are additional American citizens. There are additional green card holders. There are additional personnel of our allies. There are additional SIV card holders. There are additional Afghans that have helped us. And there are additional groups of individuals that have been contacted us, from women's groups to NGOs and others, who have expressly indicated they want to get out and have gathered in certain circumstances in groups, on buses and other means. That still presents the opportunity for, in the next several days between now and the 31st, to be able to get them out. And our military, and I believe, to the extent that we can do that knowing the threat.
Now, this federal government, this administration, seems to think that their responsibility is to shape hearts and minds, to transform how people think and feel. Not to do what they was designed to do, which is to protect America. Bottom line, the federal government, at the end of the day, is supposed to protect American people and their interests. So just from the standpoint of family who had, people who have family members over there, what you're essentially saying is 31st is the deadline, and we hope we can get them out. And if we can't, so you ain't living up to your obligation. You ain't living up to your responsibility as the federal government. You're supposed to be protecting me and my interests. My family are a direct interest. I have a direct interest in my family. To see them safe and see them home. But you too focus on all this other foolishness. This nonsense that ain't got nothing to do with nothing. Get on television right after or right before the bombing. With that chaos over there, and you talking about mask up. Matter of fact, Tennessee flooded. Several people died. You get on television and you talking about be safe and don't forget to put on your mask. I'm in the middle of dealing with rising floodwaters. My house probably washed away. My stuff, or better, or worse yet, I done lost a family member. And you talking about a mask? That's what I'm talking about. That's what most people are talking about. The zombie-like thought that's consumed this administration. Cuckoo for Cocoa, gone. You couldn't bring a rational thought to the table if your life depended on it.
Knowing that we may very well have another attack, the military has concluded that's what we should do. I think they're right. I think they're correct. And after that, we're going to be...
I find it hard to believe the military told you that. Especially since, like I said, there's been contradicting statements and testimony from high military officials that have said otherwise prior to the attack. Said they told you this, they told you that. Now they telling you that we need to stay and continue to put our military men and women at risk. Like this. Don't even change the game plan. At least if you are going to change the game plan, which I hope you do, at least reassure the American people that's what you're going to do. We're not going to do it like that again. Now, we can't tell you how we're going to do it. It's a security risk. We don't want the ops to know. But rest assured, we ain't doing it like that again. We ain't gonna have American troops sitting ducks, hard targets, or soft targets. We're not gonna do that. You won't even say that.
We're going to be in a circumstance where there will be, I believe, numerous opportunities to continue to provide access for additional persons to get out of Afghanistan, either through means that we provide and or are provided through cooperation with the Taliban. They're not good guys, the Taliban. I'm not suggesting that at all. But they have a keen interest. As many of you have been reporting, they very much would like to figure out how to keep the airport open. They don't have the capacity to do it.
You really think they're thinking about keeping that airport open? You really think that's their concern? This is what I be talking about when I'm saying clear conscious thought, the ability to think from a place of logic and reason versus emotion, and eliminating, or not eliminating, but applying critical thinking skills, able to criticize your own thoughts and remove warped views and perspectives that hinder common sense. This is elementary. Bad guy, don't like me. Bad guy, lie to me. Bad guy, trying to get me. My grandbabies can figure this out. Mean people don't have good intent. Their actions speak louder than their words. But maybe and it's unfortunate because the decisions that you're making in real time don't just affect your credibility. It affects real lives. If it just affected your credibility, deal what it is. Let chips fall where they may. You'll go down as the worst president in history. Because every decision that you've made since you've been in office has been dumb. It's been stupid. And I can't put enough emphasis on it. It's been messing with my pockets. I ain't saying that's the most important thing, but it's high on the priority list. Not to mention, I can't breathe. Remember the shirt everybody came out with? I can't breathe. I can't breathe because you're trying to put the mask on me. You're trying to restrict free speech. You're trying to keep me from expressing myself, being able to say what I want to say, do what I want to do, as long as it don't hurt nobody else. The ability to make money, to prosper. You talking about taxing people for every mile? That's in that new infrastructure bill. People not reading between the lines. The devil's in the details. They're not pulling back the layers. They don't know. They just slap them in the face. The reconciliation bill not even supposed to be passed along with the infrastructure bill. It don't supposed to be passed together. But they did it so they can cram in all that other stuff that they trying to cram in.
They very much are trying to figure out whether or not they can maintain what is a portion of an economy that has become not robust, but fundamentally different than it had been. And so there's a lot of reasons why they have reached out, not just to us, but to others, as to why it would be continued in their interest to get more of the personnel we want to get out. We can.
Now listen to this, folks. It's in their interest. They don't need us. You got China sitting in the cut. They already acknowledged them as the legitimate government of Afghanistan. They ready to bring the bag. You got Russia. They ready to bring the bag. What they need us for? What they need us for, a sense of legitimacy. This that senile old man, cuckoo for cocoa, zombie-like thought, all wrapped up in one. And now, and I don't even blame him because, like I said, it's not him. He's just a figurehead. It's the folks in the back. And what, for the life of me, I really don't understand this, because this is going to sum up the video as a whole. I'm gonna go ahead and end this because the video a little long. I want to get to the part. I might fast forward to the part where he just shooting from the hip, where he ain't trying to stick to his talking points. He's just trying to express himself, and he be tripping himself up. But the term "cut off your nose in spite of your face" is what I think about every time they try to execute their plan, which is their own self-interest. You are sitting in the freest country in the world. You are sitting in the most open and free market in the world. You are sitting in the most, some would say the most, what's the word I'm looking for? You're sitting in the most prosperous economy, some would say, in the world. If you do things, if you pass laws, if you provoke and project ideologies that destabilize all of that, you hurt yourself. You cutting off your own nose in spite of your face. That's what zombies do. Zombies run towards the bullets. Y'all know y'all done seen these movies where these zombies, they walk and run towards. They're not very smart. That's this administration. That's the whole crew. That's the clique. From from AOC to Pelosi to what's his name, Schiff. All them jokers. Booker, I think that's his name. Even Kamala Harris. All these jokers. Cut off your nose in spite of your face.
We can locate them. Now, there's not many left that we can assess that want to come out.
He keeps talking about
some
Americans
Americans
wanting to come out.
Everybody
Everybody want to come out.
The vast majority of them, not all of them, who don't want to leave because they're dual nationals, they have extended families, etc.
That's the only reason.
There's others who are looking for the time.
They between a rock and a hard place.
That's why we.
They loyal to their family, but they also want to be free. But I guarantee you, if you can guarantee that all of them can go, they going. They're not finna sit on.
I wanted to ask you.
Okay.
You say that what America says matters. What do you say to the Afghans who helped troops who may not be able to get out by August 31st?
I say we're going to continue to try to get you out. It matters. Look,
we're going to try.
I know of no conflict, as a student of history, no conflict where when a war was ending, one side was able to guarantee that everyone.
Listen to this dumb statement. This might be true, but you don't say it. You don't say it as a president, the leader of the free world. How does that project confidence? If you've got a loved one over there, how does that project confidence that and hope and even expectation that your loved one is going to come home? I don't know. This dude literally says, I don't know how you guarantee.
They wanted to be extracted from that country would get out. And think about it, folks.
This when he shoots from him.
I know the American people.
When he starts saying, think about it, folks, then when he starts shooting from
there are, I would argue, millions of Afghani citizens who are not Taliban, who did not actively cooperate with us as SIVs, who have given a chance, they'd be on board a plane tomorrow.
Absolutely.
It sounds ridiculous, but the vast majority of people in communities like that want to come to America, given a choice.
See how he keep contradicting himself? Everybody that want to go. Then he said, it might sound ridiculous, but the vast majority of people want to go. Which one is it? What are you talking about, dude?
So getting every single person out can't be guaranteed by anybody because there's a determination all who wants to get out as well. any rate, it's a process. I was really pointing to you, but you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. President. There are reports that U.S. officials provided the Taliban with names of Americans and Afghan officials to evacuate. Were you aware of that? Did that happen? And then, sir, did you personally reject a recommendation to hold or to recapture Bagram Air Force Base?
Here's what I've done. Let's answer the last question first. On the tactical questions of how to conduct an evacuation or a war, I gather up all the major military personnel that are in Afghanistan, the commanders, as well as the Pentagon. And I ask for their best military judgment. What would be the most efficient way to accomplish the mission? They concluded, the military, that Bagram was not much value added, that it was much wiser to focus on Kabul. And so I followed that recommendation. With regard to, there are certain circumstances where we've gotten information, and quite frankly, sometimes from some of you, saying you know of such and such a group of people are trying to get out, they're on a bus, they're moving from other people. And this is their location. And there have been occasions when our military has contacted their military counterparts in the Taliban and said, this, for example, this bus is coming through with X number of people on it, made up of the following group of people. We want you to let that bus or that group through. So yes, there have been occasions like that. And to the best of my knowledge, in those cases, the bulk of that has occurred, they've been let through. But I can't tell you with any certitude that there's actually been a list of names. I know there may have been, but I know of no circumstance. It doesn't mean it didn't exist.
And that's shameful. That's shameful. For you to not know with certainty where this happened or not. But the buck stops with you. But y'all plan for every contingency. Y'all got a plan. You take the recommendation of the military leaders on the ground, and they told you that this was a good idea to give the names of Americans that's on the ground, stranded, to the Taliban, and hope, because you don't know with certainty, that they let them through. Boy, you can't make this up. You can't. That don't, do that even sound right? That somebody would, that, not even say somebody, the president would do something like that, would allow something like that to happen. You got other countries over there, they ain't even doing that. They going out there getting their folks. France, Britain, like they going over, they getting their folks. They going out. They going out in these urban areas over there. Guns are blazing. On deck, ready to rock and roll if they need to. As they say, they got them sticks out. And it is what it is. They getting their people. But we hope that we can get our people. We hope. But we don't know with any certainty. And this is who we supposed to have confidence in as our supposedly leader.
That here's the names of 12 people, they're coming, let them through. It could very well have happened. I'll take one more question. Wait. Let me take the one question from the most interesting guy that I know.
Most interesting guy. This is the one opposing press.
That's you.
Mr. President, there had not been a U.S. service member killed in combat in Afghanistan since February of 2020. You set a deadline, you pulled troops out, you sent troops back in, and now 12 Marines are dead. You said the buck stops with you. Do you bear any responsibility for the way that things have unfolded in the last 2 weeks?
I bear responsibility for fundamentally all that's happened of late. But here's the deal. You know, I wish you'd one day say these things. You know as well as I do that a former president made a deal with the Taliban.
There you go.
That he would get all American forces out of Afghanistan by May 1. In return, the commitment was made.
With contingencies, with stipulations, with certain things that had to take place, or it was no deal. They don't want to add that part. But even if, let's just say it wasn't no circumstances or no stipulations attached to it. Nobody told you, like my mom used to tell me, who told you whatever I did that was crazy? Who told you to go over there and act like a plump? No, I'm just playing. Who told you to go over there and do that? Who told you to go over there and let them run the show? Let them tell you and dictate to you how we move. What they doing that at? We supposed to have the most powerful military in the world. We supposed to. But you too busy trying to paint rainbows and make sure the military woke and make sure that, you know, it's all inclusive and you checking all the boxes. You got a transgender this, and you got a woman in this position, and she black, and she Hispanic, and she Cuban, and like, what are we doing? What about the qualifications? At the end of the day, can they do the job? I get on a plane and the pilot introduced himself and he say that he identifies ABC, whatever. That's the only thing he say. Should I be confident that he can fly that plane? Especially when he say after that, I never flew a plane before. I don't know what I'm doing, but rest assured that I identify as a pilot. I ain't never flew, but I identify as a pilot. Should I be confident? Should I stay on that plane? I'm talking about we talking about qualifications. We talking about, as Iverson said, practice. You talking about practice? Have you practiced flying a plane? Can you do that?
Made, and that was a year before. In return, he was given a commitment that the Taliban would continue to attack others, but would not attack any American forces.
So he connecting the fact that ain't no troops been killed or attacked in 20 years, which is a lie. But he's saying that the promise that the previous administration made with them, or the deal that the previous administration made with them, is what is the reason why there wasn't an attack. Not military strength. Not the fact that we might bust back. That ain't have no effect. The fact that he dropped the biggest bomb that ever been dropped in history. He took out some military leader in Iran when they was planning attacks against American troops. None of that maybe hindered or discouraged them from doing something. It was a promissory note. That's what did it. Yeah. That's what did it.
Remember that? I'm being serious. No, I'm asking you a question. Because before... No, wait a minute. I'm asking you a question. Is that accurate, to the best of your knowledge? What?
Do you think that people have an issue with pulling out of Afghanistan or just the way that things have happened?
Exactly. So what he said was, it's not the fact that you pulling out that the people have an issue with. That's what they keep spinning. That's what they keep, the narrative they keep trying to push. That's not the issue. It's how you did it. Can you just at least acknowledge that this was a clown move? Just acknowledge it. But you can't. You can't acknowledge that you messed up. But y'all love pointing out when everybody else mess up. Y'all love pointing that out. You talk about the insurrection. These folks done did an insurrection over in Afghanistan. They done took over the whole government. Just fell up and just took over. You talking about people being oppressed. They over there oppressing people. What happened to injustice here is injustice everywhere and all that stuff. But you care about brown people. Them people brown. You know, y'all full of it, man. My friend of mine used to say, or he said once about another friend of mine, he said, he's so full of it, your eyes brown. He's full of it, man. Y'all full of it. Y'all know y'all know y'all running game. Y'all know y'all trying to finesse. Y'all know that y'all ain't solid. Y'all ain't connected to nothing but to selfishness, self-centeredness, pride. I heard pride coming before the fall.
I think they have an issue that people are likely to get hurt. Some, as we've seen, have gotten killed, and that it is messy. The reason why, whether my friend will acknowledge it or has reported it, the reason why there were no attacks on Americans, as you said, from the date until
because of a promissory note
came into office,
it ain't had nothing to do with us over the things.
The commitment was made by President Trump. I will be out by May 1st. In the meantime, you agree not to attack any Americans. That was the deal. That's why no American was attacked.
Dude, I mean, man, I can't.
Squarely stand by your decision to pull out.
I can't even.
Yes, I do.
This,
because look at it this way, folks. And I have another meeting for real.
He got a meeting for real. As if to say, other times he be having meetings, he ain't got no. He just be lying.
Where we'd be if I had indicated on May the 1st.
He ain't gonna do nothing but keep talking about the previous administration. He ain't finna take no responsibility, accountability. He ain't finna take no blame. They're gonna keep blaming everybody else. The Afghan soldiers they gave their country over. They laid their arms down. They folded. That's on them. Any Americans left behind, it's on them. They must then want to leave. The previous administration made a deal, so that's why we in this situation. No accountability and personal responsibility. I understand, man, people, this is just my point of view. But let me explain something to you. Why I ain't used to be this politically woke. This is what I characterize my mindset at this point in my life. Because I finally see some things that I didn't see at first. I finally understand the landscape of the political arena. Not completely. I ain't saying I know everything. But the last, I guess you could say, let's see, 4, 8 inches. I could say 15 years, I've been paying attention. And I've been seeing a pattern. And I've been studying the peaks and valleys of my personal growth, financially, spiritually, emotionally. And then I also started looking at stuff outside of myself, mainly my family and those that are going to be here when I'm dead and gone. And I realized that it's my responsibility. It's my responsibility to not only stand firm in my convictions, to be solid, to be certain and true, whether you agree with me or not, so my family will know where I stand. And so they won't fold, potentially won't fold to the pressure of the masses. They won't fold to the go along, get along game. They won't fold to zombie-like thought, doing what everybody else do. We got to call out abnormal behavior. We got to call out bad behavior. And I ain't just talking about, I know we talking about, we in a political arena right now. That's what we talking about. I'm talking about period. First, with ourselves. We got to call out bad behavior with ourselves. There's areas in our own personal life that we know we need to improve in. It can be with your spouse. It can be with your children. It can definitely be with God. It can be in your business. It can be in your personal health. If anything has taught us anything about this pandemic, it certainly has taught me. I've been operating in bad behavior in my personal health. I've been putting things in my body that I know didn't serve my best interest. Call out bad behavior. And for some reason, because we want to go along and get along, because we want to be a part of the common think tank, because we want to be liked, we refuse to operate in clear conscious thought, to not be a part of the common think tank, to critically think, to think about something other than the bag. And I've mentioned the bag more than a few times in this video, but I understand that there's something more important. Because you got folks in power that are thinking about the bag. So much so that they're cutting off their own nose in spite of their face, and they're hurting everybody else. The constituents that they say they serve. The American people. It's time for us to pay attention to something other than ourselves. It's time for us to look at some things outside of our own personal box. I'm on this journey, man. And I'm on a journey to give testimony to the truth. Even those uncomfortable areas in my life, God is revealing them to me and making me see. Even if that truth doesn't feel good, it has to be revealed. The ugly truth. The ugly truth is we all have biases. The ugly truth is we all have room for improvement. The ugly truth is a lie is a lie, and the truth is the truth. It doesn't matter who's saying it. So just because this person I like is telling a lie doesn't mean because I like them is no longer a lie. It's a lie. So The challenge for all of us is to give testimony to the truth, which in turn will reveal the lie. Real talk. You guys take care. Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe, share, and like. And I'm out. I'll talk to you later.